What's up everybody, Tech Chucker here, and today I've got a special review for you. I completed my very first Gundam, or did my first Gunpla. I don't know. Somebody tell me in the comments what the difference between Gunpla and Gundam. If Gundam is the actual bot and Gunpla is the act of putting them together, that's what I think it is. Anyway, this one I put together. It took me about a day to put it together, and it is the RGM-79 GM, the EFSF Mass Productive Mobile Suit Gundam. And I gotta say, I am completely hooked. These things are super cool. They're really, really fun. When I first opened it up, I looked at it and I'm like, holy cow, what have I gotten myself into? This seems so complex. But it's essentially, assemble by numbers. If you can follow instructions, it's not too bad. And I found a video that goes through, you can see the instructions are in Japanese, but you really don't need to know Japanese because the numbering is all in standard number system. So it's pretty easy once you figure out what all the symbols are. And I'll link in the description below a video that I used that kind of went through all of the different symbols in the instructions and tells you what those mean. But once you get kind of into it, it's really pretty easy. And these things are super cool. This one's apparently a really, really simple one, but I just loved it. It was super fun. I didn't paint it. I haven't done any of the panel lining or anything like that. I think I'll do that. I don't know if I'll do any custom paint or anything like that yet, but overall, this thing's really, really cool and super fun. So let's go ahead and take a look at the figure put together and we'll just do the basic review. All right, so the articulation on this thing is actually considerably better than I was expecting. Now, it's a fairly small little figure, but there's a lot of articulation in it. And as normal, take these couple of accessories off. We'll start with the head, and his head is actually on a ball peg, and he's got really, really good range of motion. You can see there it's just a simple ball peg, nothing spectacular about it, but he can look up this much, which is quite a bit, and look down really, really good. And then he's able to obviously rotate side to side, no issues there, but you can see there's a lot of tilt and just a lot of range of motion. You can get a lot of really cool poses out of that. In the shoulders, he can get his arm all the way out, which is awesome. And then he has full rotation of that arm as well. So that is cool. He's got an upper bicep swivel, which works really, really good. And then he's got a hinge in the elbow, which works really, really good as well. Just a single. In the hands or the wrist, he's got a ball peg, and those actually work really, really good as well. I'm happy with how all of that, turned out within the arms. In the waist area, there is not really any forward or backwards arch, but he's able to rotate and he's able to crunch side to side, which is pretty cool. It's just a peg that kind of slides up and down, and you can get some of those different angles. In the waist or the hips, he's able to do about this much for the splits. Now he can't really angle those what do you call it, the ankles too much to get his feet flat on the floor, but this is about as far as you're going to be able to get it anyway. He can kick forward quite a bit. I'm actually really happy with that. That front panel actually moves forward. He's able to kick back a decent amount, not too bad. That's actually a little further than a Marvel Legend, I think. There is a bit of a, because it's on a ball peg, he can rotate that a little bit at the thigh, and then he has essentially, it's kind of a double jointed knee. He can't get all the way in half, but that's okay. There is a hinge joint, which works pretty decent. He's able to get his foot back this far, which isn't too bad. And then he's able to get that foot forward a little bit with that piece that basically that plate that moves forward, not a lot forward. And there is just a little bit of an ankle rocker. It's not too bad. He can rotate that foot just a little bit, not much, but that's okay. So overall, I'm really happy with the articulation on this bot. It's actually pretty cool. I love playing with this thing. The joints are fairly tight, but they move nice and fluidly. if that makes sense with a robot. So overall, I'm really happy with this figure. You can get him into some pretty dynamic poses. Alrighty, so looking at the sculpt and I guess paint of this figure, there's not really paint so much as the plastic is cast in different colors. But the sculpt of this is really cool. There's a lot of really cool details here. Looking at the head, there's some neat details here with that little visor. There's good sculpt, and there's plenty of areas where if you were going to paint it, you can get some good details in those paneling lines or panel lines. Moving down in the torso, I really like the way that they did this torso. You can see where I kind of scraped and I don't know, cut or snipped from the railings or whatever that's called, and you know, it's definite, you can see that. But there's a lot of really cool detail work that they added into this. A lot of attention to detail for the different flaps and whatnot. These hands are pretty cool looking. So there's lots of areas where you can give it some paint detail if you're going to do your own painting. But it's also nice enough that you could leave it the way that it is and it still would look pretty cool. I just think it's really cool. You can see the little thruster blaster things on the back. I'm happy with it. It's my first bot, or my first Gundam, and I couldn't be happier. I think it's pretty sweet. So another thing that I want to point out is these flaps are articulated so that you can actually move the legs out. I just think that's a really cool feature that they can that they take and make the what is it? The attention to detail on those things is really cool. So one final sculpt detail I wanted to mention. This is a 1/44th scale figure, and he stands roughly about 5 inches, which happens to be, I don't know, about 12 and a half centimeters tall. So he's not a very big figure, but it's still pretty darn cool. And this bot does come with a few accessories. So he comes with alternate hands, which is pretty cool. So you've got this fully closed hand for holding his weapons, which is pretty awesome. I'm very happy with that. So that just slides in. We'll talk about the weapons here in just a second. But that's awesome. And those just, they have a ball peg and they just peg right in, which is pretty cool. He comes with, let's see, here's another hand for the other side, so he can hold his weapon in both hands on both sides, which is pretty sweet. And those just pop right out. It's kind of a rubberized joint for the actual ball socket. And then he comes with this open hand, which is pretty cool. I really like that. It looks really nice. It's sculpted very well. And you can see these just peg right in here really easily. So it pegs all the way in there, and his saber sword thing he can hold like that. There's no paint on that, but you get basically the sword-like thing, and then you get a handle also so that you can peg that right into his back as though he's storing it closed. So apparently this sword thing is kind of like a lightsaber in it, and it opens up and closes. So that's kind of cool that you get some weapon storage. Then he also comes with this other hand, which is a trigger hand, and he also comes with this gun, which is, I don't know, it's like a 3 or 4 part gun, maybe 5 part, I don't remember. But basically to get this on, you pop this top part off and you get the gun. And there's some nice detail work on this, so if you were going to paint, you could get some cool dry brushing and wash effects on the gun, which is nice. And the hand has a nice trigger finger. It's made to hold it very good. And you can just peg this top piece on. It's kind of tricky just because it's such a small piece. Pop it on there. And like so. And you've got a trigger finger with the gun. Looks pretty good. I think it's awesome. I'm really stoked with this. And then he also comes with his shield, which has a couple of options, and this is a really nice shield. I think it looks cool. And he's got a couple of options of how he can either hold it or store it, which is pretty cool. So he's got an articulated peg, and then essentially this handle that he can hold this thing with. And so you peg this in on his forearm, and let's see if I can get this figured out. Should have done this before I recorded, eh? But basically then you just slide that right into his hand, like so, and boom, there you go. And you can kind of rotate that. Top piece is a ball peg, and so you can get lots of different positions for this particular shield, which is pretty sweet. So the other thing that you can do is you can just peg this right into his back, and he stores it away on his back, and you can kind of rotate it however you like. You can have it higher or lower based on your preference. So this looks really, really cool. So overall, I'm really, really happy with this figure. I think it's super cool. It's really fun to be able to, put together your own bot and then it be fully articulated. I don't know. I just love it. I was having a lot of fun playing with this thing. It's super cool. I think it's just amazing. What do you guys think? Are you guys Gundam collectors, builders? This is probably one of the simpler ones. I've got another one that I just put together a little bit ago, and that one's it's a high grade. I don't remember what grade this is. This is high grade as well. But I think these are fun. I'm gonna probably buy a few more in the future. What do you guys think? Are these things cool? Have you ever done one? Do you have a collection? If you do, share it with me. I assume maybe through Instagram. Let me know what your Instagram name is. I'll follow you. I'd love to see your your bot collection, your Gundam collection. Until next time, I'll see you guys later.
Alrighty folks, I hope you liked this video. If you did, go ahead and hit that like button. If you haven't already done so, click the subscribe button. Check out some of my other videos. You can see them right up here and down here. Also, check out the featured video that I've got here. Every single video I'm going to feature someone else's video. Somebody who has a channel, either it's an up-and-comer like myself or somebody who's an old pro. Whatever it is, it's going to be awesome. So make sure you go check it out, like their content, subscribe to their channel, and until next time, I'll see you later.
Tetris Brain Blast.